Okay, so today we are going to talk about a few videos to build up my video today. This is a draft video, so maybe I'll do a full video in the future. So the truth about competitive Pokemon, but it's definitely not repetitive and the game is definitely creative, but the game is boring. It is about a game of hidden info and somewhat more towards luck and variance, not skill. So, competitive Pokemon looks like a strategic skill-based game, but was it really? What if the whole scene, tournaments and metas, is built more on hidden info and luck and also variance than mastery? Let's talk about why competitive Pokemon is broken at its core. So, the reason I brought this up, right, was when Wolfie talked about this is I think a very famous quote in competitive Pokemon, and it was brought up twice by Wolfe Glick, the popular player Wolfe Glick in 2020 August 4 and 2021 June 5, right, in these two videos. These players are lame. Everyone uses the same Pokemon. They should be creative and using their favorites. So, and also like he brought up two arguments, right? And I don't think it was repetitive, but his logic and reasoning about why competitive Pokemon is not repetitive is definitely sound and logical in theory, right? It's flawless, right? And I don't disagree with it, but in reality, because of the real life limitations, the reasoning falls apart everywhere. That's why I wanted to say it. So, first of all, information is way too hidden. Now, to be fair, there are open team sheets everywhere, and there are definitely developed histories like and metas spreading around the internet, right? But okay, let's say competitive Pokemon likes to brag that it's all about outplaying the meta, but even top players like popular streamers, players actively hide their teams. Literally, Wolf is a famous example because during, hope I get my information correct, maybe I'm wrong, but it was definitely an international event before, up until a few days before the tournament, a week, and Wolfe Glick was still hiding his team because he wanted to have an element of surprise and a better chance of winning. And so it was NAIC 2023, I believe. I forgot. It was NAIC, not sure which year though. So if you're trying to hide their team, that is a active way of like hiding information, right? Before open team sheets, even movesets and strategies are hidden or kept secret, right? Google is very limited in searching your history, and it's not like you can always like get into the patterns. There are many people who play online ladder, other ladder and other online platforms, and also Showdown doesn't show you all the history, right? You can only see through like certain parts of the history. You have to actively play on the ladder, and even then you don't get all the information, right? ChatGPT is inaccurate in collecting all the big data, and even players from the same country often don't share stats, right? So how are you supposed to counter the meta or build a counter team around it very consistently if the meta is literally in the dark most of the time? It's not a counterplay, it's guessing in the fog. So here's another point. So people are saying like, oh, people are apologetic about using the same Pokemon over and over again. To be fair, only 2015 top cuts is literally like 7 out of 8 teams using the same 5 Pokemon or a close variant of it. But this does underline a very underlying issue. So some Pokemon come with better stats, better move boosts, better types. There's no lore, and I'm not saying Pokemon lore, like no real world history, right? No skill, just handed power. Not because they train harder or have a story, just because they exist. Landorus Teeth, Incineroar, Rayquaza, Whimsicott, right? These guys get everything right? In the like that way, right? In their respective roles, and even some get multiple roles, like heat trend, right? Role compression. Where's the justification? Where's the progression of growth? It's not like um, I got an example, but it's not a very easy to understand. Like the words are not very good, very pleasing, appealing, right? So, okay, like it's not like this specific key trend after some kind of training to throw a lot of like 837 lava balls, right? Lava or like lava balls or lava mats, right? And therefore he developed a move called lava plume, such and such. So I think it's like showing up to a boxing match where opponent gets gloves, steroids, and armor because of their species. This is kind of like Pokemon, where it's like showing up to a boxing match, but Butterfree doesn't. Okay, Butterfree is a little bit more. Beedrill doesn't get anything, where Heatran gets gloves, steroids, and armor. That's how it feels like. Okay, so here's the third point, right? This is more of a personal hypothesis and conspiracy theory. Not sure if it's accurate, but at least it will be good for other people to reflect on it. In every other competitive scene, maybe not all of them, but a lot of competitive scenes, top players again appear again and again, right? And they don't always appear. Maybe after a certain amount of time, maybe 3 to 5 years, they will like step down. But even then, they still maintain a decent level, right, on the above average. They're just not in the top anymore. But in Pokemon, like in VGC specifically, no one has hit top 3, top 8s, or even top 12s in a span of 5 years. No one person. And now I don't know if this information may be inaccurate, but at least what I saw, no one has the achievement of this. So it would be a good idea to do research. But I have a high level of confidence that this is accurate. Even someone such as a pretty smart guy such as Wolfe Glick, a pretty above average player, a pretty smart guy, only won Worlds once. That's it. He only won Worlds once. And Red Rizzo's, he's the only person that won 3 times, I think. Right? He's a 3-time world champion. But that is a decade ago. Now granted, I don't know, maybe after like 5 or 6 years he's still like on the relatively top level or above average level of Pokemon skills, but because right now it's like 2012 or 2013, right? So it's around like 12 or 13 years now. So it could be retired, but it's definitely, even if that was a decade ago. Like not many people can have the consistent skill, right? Like, so that is something, if no one can dominate consistently, maybe the game isn't skillful enough to allow it, right? And so this kind of like saying like Wolf have the world champ difference is like saying luck is playing a lot into factor, right? Or it's like luck is in the driver's seats, like variance is in the driver's seats. You're playing a guessing game. You're fundamentally playing a guessing game, right? You are trying to promote the game that is fundamentally either it is a lot based on a lot on guessing, or like on a lot of Pokemon because they are born better, right? And so this is kind of like, it's kind of like hard to promote when the game is fundamentally flawed for a reason, and you also didn't have the achievements to back it up. The problem was that was the issue, I think, in the worst Pokemon opinions video, right? During the 2020 August 4 Wolf's video. So that was the third point. So point 4 is a more personal point, but I think that it is also valid, so I think I should bring it up. So Pokemon is designed to be more like a brawl, aesthetic wise. Now granted, Legends Arceus came out, so that is always a good thing, so that is a good step in the right direction. But before that, it's not actually a brawl, it's actually a guessing match. It's a calculator match and a guessing match. It's a combination of both these, but it definitely doesn't feel like a brawling match is the last thing you would think about Pokemon if you think like competitive Pokemon, because in the anime it portrayed like it's a brawling match, but in competitive it's more like a guessing match or a calculation. It's a war of calculation or a mix of both, right? So Pokemon is designed to look like a fighting game in anime, It's 1v1 showdowns, it's about flashy moves, right? In Legend Arceus it's also like that, in anime it's like that. But in competitive, especially in VGC at least, I don't know about trading cards, but it plays like slow chess in VGC, with fog of war and coin flips, EV spreads, speed creep, prediction wars, coverage moves, 85% accuracy, 70% accuracy, focus miss. It's a gamble simulator with health bars, right? It's not exciting, it's exhausting. So I think competitive Pokemon is boring. I definitely can agree that many people are valid to say that competitive Pokemon is boring. It's not necessarily repetitive, and a lot of players can even be creative, but as a whole, the game is definitely more exhausting than exciting at the very least. So competitive Pokemon isn't unwatchable. Like competitive Pokemon is unwatchable, but not necessarily like because all the fans are dumb or casuals or lazy. Definitely a significant portion of amount of fans maybe are indeed dumb or casuals and are lazy, or a mix of all three. That is true. That could be true, but it also could be the majority of people are just find it boring to watch. It's unwatchable because the game doesn't reward visibility. It rewards creativity in a very limited way, and it definitely doesn't reward consistent skill. Not to mention, it actively encourages luck, volatility, and kind of unpredictability, right? It would be nice if the big Pikachu fixes these core issues, right? Visibility, balance, and competitive structure. Until then, though, it will always be closer to lottery chess than an actual esport. So I think that is what I want to say for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, guys. Goodbye. So, by the way, I want to bring up the fourth point about the fighting game, the EV spreads, right? Now, there is definitely some nuance. There are definitely a lot of nuances in the competitive scenes about EV spreads and speed creep, right? About trick room and tailwind and prediction, but it's kind of like when you develop, it's not like Muay Thai, right, where you like when you have develop some skills of finding hand gestures, interaction. Like it's like you can see the hand gestures and the interaction, like it's like kind of like vibe, and the energy is kind of like when you release some sort of chi, right? I don't know, some sort of chi, like energy when you display a move. Instead, we dealing with, okay, this how many hits will this sword to hit through this kind of armor or stone. Like I don't know if it's a good example of or a good wording, but you can get the idea. It's kind of like a different vibe. I can get why people are disappointed. At very least, they say competitive is boring. I think people should give sound reasoning for like that one for saying arguments, but definitely if someone's saying sound reasoning for arguments, you should probably listen. There's a good reason why people say competitive is boring, for a good reason, and many people have supported that. Otherwise, it wouldn't spread around like wildfire. So yeah, that is what I wanted to add. Thank you.